right, well, moving on. Yes, a lot of people already in the chat talking about it, and we're burying the lead a little bit, but we got to talk once again about Nolan Arenado because there are kind of new-ish rumors that have popped up today. Los Angeles Times, Jorge Castillo, I'm assuming inspired by Noah Cameras. Read it first on DodgersNation.com.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, but Nolan, the idea of Nolan gaining just a hair of traction, we'll say. I forgot exactly how he said it, but there's interest. The Dodgers are how did he put it again, Noah? They're exploring.
He just said they've engaged in trade talks.
They've engaged.
And he said that they're very interested in him, even though ESPN's Alden Gonzalez already said they're enamored with him. But yeah, it's a lot of the same.
Yeah.
But
that's what happens.
Yeah,
in
that's what happens.
This time of year, you get John Heyman doing the same Shohei Ohtani article all season long. So. But this one, Castillo went a little bit deeper with it. Yeah, they're engaged in conversation. Of course, the Dodgers are engaged with every single team in conversations about players that are good at baseball. But Nolan has always seemed to fit this Dodger roster because he should fit any team. He's one of the best to ever play third base as a Major League Baseball man. Castillo expanded, though, mentioning, of course, they want top-tier pitching. He mentioned Bobby Miller. He mentioned Gavin Stone. He mentioned some other guys. Check out the article or read about some of our Noah's thoughts on it over on InsideTheDodgers.com. But a couple of the other things he had mentioned, too, Castillo, was the pitching from the Cardinals side of thing. Jordan Montgomery and what the hell's the guy's name? I can't think of the damn pitcher's name right now.
Jack Flaherty.
Jack Flaherty. I don't know. My words are hard. But them and mixing in Chris Taylor and Max Muncy as guys potentially that could go back to St. Louis in a deal. So I don't know how much you saw of all that, but whatever you have in the tank on that, give me some reactions and let's kind of explore the idea of. It sounds like there's different tiers of trades that can happen with this with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, so first thing I want to say is that the Dodgers, if they're interested in a prospect, if they're interested in trading away some of their top prospects, the Bobby Millers of the world, some of their top pitching prospects, the Cardinals need pitching, and the Dodgers have pitching. The Dodgers have all the prospect capital, all the requisite ability to take on money. But I actually think if they're going to make a big trade, if they're going to be aggressive, I think on my spidey senses, my tradey senses, they're telling me that there's a pretty solid chance that this gets done. I really think there's a chance that the Dodgers trade for Arenado because this is what my thought process here. My thought process is Andrew Friedman, since the expanded postseason, he has not liked to deal at the deadline. Look at yesterday. Look at the Giolito deal. Yes, the Angels gave 2 of their top 3 prospects, but still, both those guys were below 5 of the Dodgers' top prospects, right? If the Dodgers wanted Giolito yesterday, they could have gotten him, but they didn't want Giolito. I think that the Dodgers don't want to compete with other teams. They don't want to have to overpay. Like I always say on this show, Friedman likes to buy the Halloween candy the day after Halloween. But with the Cardinals, it's a different story because the big kicker here and the wrinkle is Arenado has a no-trade clause. He would have to waive that no-trade clause. And if the Cardinals want to move him, if the Cardinals are interested in maybe getting big-time prospects and trying to replenish their farm system and trying to get to that next era, it makes a ton of sense. And yes, you would have to shake hands with the enemy. We know that the Redbirds and the Dodgers, the birds on the bat and the boys in blue, that to me is the Dodgers' second biggest rival, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
But they also realize they're a smart organization. They're not going to do something like Artie Moreno did and let the best player ever essentially walk and get a compensation pick. They know what they have in Nolan Arenado, and they realize that if you're going to trade him, this might be the best time to do it. They know that if you look at his numbers, I think he still rakes. He absolutely does. A 130 weighted runs created plus. I think he would rake in Dodger blue in this lineup. Defensively, yes, he's having the worst year of his career, but we're talking about a 10-time Gold Glove Award winner, a 6-time Platinum Glove Award winner, the best defensive third baseman of all time, my opinion. And I think for the Dodgers, the reason why I think they possibly make this move, I'm not ready to say they're going to make this move like it's a slam dunk, but I definitely think there's a pretty decent chance they pull it off is because you're not competing with anyone. Because essentially the Dodgers are the only team in Major League Baseball that Arenado would waive his no-trade clause to go to.
This is true.
He went to El Toro High School in Newport Beach. He used the same trainer as Freddie Freeman in Newport Beach. I mean, there's a lot of connections here. He grew up a Dodger fan. The connections are limitless. And what I always say, too, is it always has to go beyond just you as a player with the Dodgers. He has that. There's the connection, the marketability. Jerseys will sell. He'll definitely get that box office appeal. And also, too, if you look at his contract, Clint, that's what I really want to touch on next and get your thoughts on is if you look at that contract, $109 million left, right? The last year is $15 million. So if you were to include Chris Taylor in that deal, who still has $26 million left.
There's good contract offset.
I mean, that's a steal for Nolan Arenado. Look at what Manny Machado just signed for. Look at what Rafael Devers just signed for. I mean, to get a player of his caliber, it would be an absolute steal. And then you get a Flaherty, then you get a Jordan Montgomery. And yeah, those guys aren't surefire aces, but who's to say if the White Sox are willing to deal Dylan Cease? The prospect capital for him, considering he has 2 years of team control left after this season. Justin Verlander, you really want to see him in Dodger blue. I mean, pros, Kate Upton, cons, Ben Verlander. So I don't want to see that. Max Scherzer, kind of been there, done that. I would be open to it under certain circumstances. But yeah, you're probably not getting that ace, but you're definitely getting a pitcher that can help. And Nolan Arenado, who that would take Mookie, Freddie, and Arenado as your core. He would be the solution at third base. You would take Max Muncy off of third base. He rakes against left-handed pitching, and that to me tells me you're pushing all those chips in the middle of the table and you're going all in with this core, because why else would you have signed Freddie Freeman? Freddie Freeman wasn't a traditional signing. He was above 30 years old. They would both be on the Dodgers through their age 27 season, so I think it makes sense.
That was one of the things I was going to say. I wanted to bring up or bring back something you've been saying on Twitter all year long, all season long, something you've said on the show a number of times. Look, we are living through the prime of Mookie Betts, the prime of Freddie Freeman. This is the time where if you're going to go all in and respect these dudes that agreed to play with you for the rest of their careers, maybe not Freddie, but agreed to play with you and be here for this long in their career, you have to reward them by saying, hey, we're going to go out there and get the best potentially available offensive player at the time. And yeah, the last two guys the Dodgers have acquired so far at this trade deadline have been like kind of head scratchers because they are having god awful years. Nolan not having a great year by his standard, but it's still Nolan F. Arenado. This is a difference maker on a team, in a clubhouse. He wants to win. He's hungry. And this Castillo thing and what you're talking about, if you are pulling the pitchers from there, two more things, and I know Noah's got some stuff in the tank. I've said the last few of these episodes or few of these live streams, they are going to deal with one team. It's going to be the big trade, the big difference maker for the postseason is going to be with one team. And if that is going to be the Cardinals, it makes a lot of sense. It feels like now it's not going to be the White Sox because, hey, Lucas Giolito is an angel and he starts tomorrow. The final thought I have, it sniffs a little bit like how the way it started with the Scherzer, Trey Turner stuff in 21. That's what I'm kind of sensing because it was other people talking about it a little bit. And over the weekend, we're going to see the Padres in on it, or probably not the Padres. They don't need a third baseman. You're going to start to see more teams' names thrown out there as the Cardinals try to find a way to pull more from the Dodgers. But this could be the 2023 version of the Scherzer. It's this, last time they were going for Scherzer and Trey Turner was kind of the throw-in. This time it's Arenado and Flaherty's kind of the throw-in. But Tuesday is going to be the ish. Noah, what you got for me?
Yeah, a bunch of stuff to go through. First of all, chat's absolutely firing
yes,
right now. If you're in the chat, make sure you drop a like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Like you said, Clinch has said Tuesday is going to be fire. We're going to be going live on Tuesday for the trade deadline, so you don't want to miss that. We got a lot to talk about. First of all, D-Mac getting a lot of love for that Arenado little speech right there. People
was it a speech?
D-Mac, I don't know, it was like a monologue. D-Mac, people would say D-Mac cooking, D-Mac fire right now. So some love for D-Mac. But also,
I know that guy.
You know what happens here, guys. We got super chats. And the best part about it is they are all relevant super chats. So let's start
we love a relevant
with
super chat.
Reed Hallett, $5.
Thank you, Reed.
He said, "This may not buy me a shoey, but bring Nolan home. Don't give up Bobby. Get Montgomery in the trade and give D-Mac a raise."
Yo.
So
send it straight to the top. I agree fully with the Bobby Miller. That's the one guy I think is untouchable. So the one guy I think is untouchable is Bobby Miller right now.
So what if there's been some talk that they want to get an extension done with Jordan Hicks, but if it's Hicks or Flaherty or Montgomery plus
I
Arenado.
stand by my statement.
I agree with Clint. I think Bobby Miller's
untouchable. I'm not very high on Jordan Hicks.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, they needed a reliever, and just going back to your theory that you're going to get a bulk trade, right? It's going to be a buy one, get two free, whatever
Costco,
it may be.
Baby.
Yeah, exactly, right? And we need the Kirkland player, right? Someone can help out. We also need the premium stuff too, right? So I think that is something that you might consider. Now, Bobby Miller, he's pretty close to untouchable. In my opinion, there's no such thing as untouchable. That's just my opinion right there, because this is a team that has to win a World Series to crystallize, to cement this front office's legacy. The mission hasn't been accomplished. It has not been accomplished with this group, and I think you bring in a Nolan Arenado, and if it takes a Bobby Miller, I mean, let's just look at this. You're talking about, look, Rafael Devers, he just signed 11 years, $331 million. Yeah. Manny Machado, 11 years, $350 million. You're talking about if you found a way to get Chris Taylor included in that trade, that gives you $26 million off the books. So you're talking about basically $83 million for 4.5 years of Nolan Arenado. Oh, and wait. The Colorado Rockies, they're paying $5 million of that salary in 2024, $5 million in 2025. They're still paying that deal. By the way, the Colorado Rockies paid the Cardinals to take away their best player of their franchise's history. The Rockies are terrible.
Dick Monfort is a moron, man.
Absolutely.
He is just an absolutely terrible owner. One of the worst owners in baseball. And he was like a lead voice during the contract negotiations for the lockout and on all that. Give me more.
Yeah, going to keep going. First of all, a lot of the comments are saying Bobby Miller untouchable. Don't trade Bobby. Anyone but Bobby. But also, you know, we got 2 more super chats. Do the dance, Doug.
You will dance.
Hey,
first one here.
I need like doctor supervision to do that. I don't mean.
Give him some ibuprofen stat.
First one we got here from Francisco Avila. He says Nolan with Flaherty and Hicks or Montgomery is what we need. Bring 2 hometown kids back home. That's obviously Nolan Arenado and Jack Flaherty are hometown kids. That was $9.99. So thank you, Francisco. And then one more on this topic. I know we're going to keep talking about this topic, so it's very much, you know, on brand here. Diane Schroeder, $10. Thank you very much, Diane. She says, how many Dodger dogs do you give the Arenado rumors? Doug, I'm thinking I'm going to you.
Man, I got to give it 3.5 Dodger dogs.
Whoa,
I think there's more than
massive.
some serious smoke. I definitely think that this Dodgers team, there's just not a lot of aggressive moves that they want to make that make a ton of sense. And that's what this team has been able to do. That's why this organization has had sustainable winning, is because they don't have a ton of money on the books. You look at after next season, who do you have? You have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and Chris Taylor, and you could include Chris Taylor in that deal. You compare that, that's about $78 million, right? $78 million right now. You compare that to what the Braves are at right now. The Braves are at $148 million with all those extensions, because you know why? The Dodgers have the prospect capital to get some of these players, and you get them for 4 or 5 years, it's fine. I mean, there's going to be a lot of franchise out there. The Phillies, Mets, franchise like that, they're going to have to pay these 10, 11-year deals that are going to age like guacamole in the sun. You don't want to have that, because at that point, these players are as useless as a used lottery ticket, and you don't want to have that, right? So I think if you're some of these players, a used scratch-off lottery ticket. Sorry,
that makes more sense.
You raise your hand.
What if somebody dropped it and it had money? They were excited, but then they just dropped it.
Okay, useless as a used lottery ticket that is not a winner.
A non-winner.
A non-winner.
Yeah.
But I just think like the big thing for me, like the number one thing, and I interviewed someone who covers the Cardinals, and we talked a little bit about this, and he agreed with me in that the Dodgers, there is no competition. I mean, look at Lucas Giolito. I'm sure the White Sox, you had so many teams calling for Lucas Giolito. You have other people calling for all these big names that are available on the market. Really, for its Arenado, there's no one else. There's no one on the other line, right? Yeah. There's no call waiting. It's nothing like that.
And a lot of these other teams can't afford to pay Nolan next year and the year after.
Exactly. There's not a lot of teams that have the financial muscle, and this is not going to preclude the Dodgers from going after Shohei Ohtani. It is not.
Got to get one in.
It just isn't. I mean, and you need to find. And by the way, Cody Hosey had a pretty nice game the other day, but still, he's not someone that is going to be your long-term solution. Nolan Arenado. Look, this is the thing. If the fact that they're listing right now, and the Dodgers, yes, you have to shake your hands with the enemy, like I said earlier. Yeah. Of course, one of my favorite players, of course, Rafael Furcal. 2011, they traded him to the Cardinals for Alex Castellanos. So, yeah, there have been done some deals. Also, 1988, the Dodgers traded Pedro Guerrero to the Cardinals. There are deals. There are examples. Yeah. And this is the thing. Cardinals are a smart organization. And look, the reality is the fact that there is communication, the fact that there are talks between the two, that lets me know they're saying, okay, can we get Bobby Miller? Can we get Gavin Stone? Yeah. Can we get Andy Pages? Who is available? And look, the reality is that if I go to you, you love your house, the house you grow up in, right? All these memories, and you don't want to sell that house. If I offer you 4 or 5 times what that house is worth, you're like, I'll find another house, right? Yeah. And look, the Cardinals, that's not where he grew up. That's not his house. His house, Los Angeles. That's where he grew up. You got to bring Nolan Arenado home. I think if you're going to make the move, that's going to be the move. And the reason why I kind of changed my tune on this is because there's just not many other aggressive moves.
It's because you watch the King in action, you know. I'm just saying.
Well, it's because
3 weeks ago, bring him home. Bring him home. I've been on
Bring
Nolan
him.
before anybody was on Nolan.
Hey,
It
someone
made a
read
lot
my
of
article.
sense.
Someone
Somebody
read
read
my
that.
article.
Yeah, absolutely,
Tell
man.
me
It
making
makes
all
a
the
lot of
points in
sense
my article.
because
Tirevision.com.
I don't think any of us are sold on the future at third base as Max Muncy. Love Max. He is one of our favorite people. Second base, a little bit of utility, whatever it is, but it's not third.
It isn't. It really is not.
You're raising your hand.
Two.